We tend to think of weight loss as pretty simple math, right? Calories in versus calories out. But what if I told you that losing 10 pounds on one diet could have a completely different effect on your health than losing those same 10 pounds on another? Well, it turns out new research is showing that when it comes to one of our most important organs, our liver, how we lose weight might be just as crucial as how much.
So, that's the big question we're tackling today. Is a pound lost just a pound lost? Or does the way we lose it actually matter? And to really get to the bottom of this, we first have to understand what happens inside our bodies when the liver starts to get overwhelmed.
Okay, so let's talk about your liver. This thing is an absolute metabolic powerhouse. I mean, it's the master regulator of fats, proteins, carbohydrates, the whole shebang. But, even the best systems have their limits. And when the liver gets pushed past its limit, we run into a problem that's becoming incredibly common: fatty liver disease. Here's a great way to think about it. Picture your liver as the main shipping hub for your body, like a massive Amazon warehouse. Now, if way too many packages arrive all at once, more than the workers can process and ship out, what happens? They start piling up in the hallways, right? Clogging everything up. And that's pretty much what's going on with a constant calorie surplus. The liver has no choice but to start storing all that extra energy as fat. Right, so this whole situation has an official name: Metabolic-Associated Fatty Liver Disease, or MAFLD for short. Basically, you get this diagnosis when fat makes up more than 5% of your liver tissue. And like the name says, it's really tightly connected to our eating patterns and our overall metabolic health. So what's the first step to fixing this? Well, the most fundamental rule, something that's been confirmed by tons of research, all comes back to a pretty simple idea: the energy balance, or what we call the calorie equation. Honestly, it's beautifully simple. If you eat more calories than your body uses, that's a surplus, you will consistently pack more fat into your liver. But on the flip side, if you eat fewer calories than you use, that's a deficit. You will consistently pull fat out of your liver. This is the bedrock principle, and it's why any kind of weight loss is usually the #1 recommendation for treating a fatty liver. But is it the whole story? To figure this out, scientists set up this really cool head-to-head experiment. They wanted to see if two totally different diet strategies, both designed to create that all-important calorie deficit, would end up having the same effect on the liver. They put together what's called a randomized controlled trial, which, by the way, is the gold standard for this kind of research. And for 12 weeks, they pitted two super popular weight loss diets against each other. So let's meet our two competitors. In one corner, you've got the classic daily calorie restriction. This is the approach we all know: just eat a little bit less every single day. And in the other corner, you have the 5-2 intermittent fasting diet. With this one, you eat normally for 5 days a week, but on 2 days that aren't back-to-back, you cut your calories way, way down. Now, here's the really important part. Both diets were set up so that by the end of the week, everyone had the exact same total calorie deficit. So 12 weeks go by. What happens? Well, if you just looked at the scale, you'd say it was a total tie. Both groups lost about the same amount of weight, and there was no real difference in their weight loss or BMI. Based on that alone, you'd say both diets work equally well. But, of course, the researchers weren't just looking at the scale. That wasn't the point. They wanted to know what was going on deeper on the inside. What was happening inside the liver? And this, my friends, is where things get really, really interesting. Because when the scientists actually looked at the scans of everyone's livers, whoa, the results were not the same. Not at all. Get ready for this, because the results were absolutely stunning. This chart here shows the percentage of people who still had moderate to severe fatty liver after the 12 weeks. In the daily calorie cutting group, it was almost 60%. But look at the intermittent fasting group. It dropped to under 30%. I mean, that is a huge difference. It's proof that the eating pattern itself was having some kind of powerful effect that went way beyond just losing weight. And hey, don't just take my word for it. The researchers themselves put it right in their conclusion. They said the 5-2 diet showed better improvement in liver fat and scarring, and get this, that this effect was independent of weight regulation. In other words, something else was happening here, something that had nothing to do with the number on the scale. So what's going on here? If it's not just about the weight loss, what's the secret sauce? Well, the answer seems to be this incredible biological process called metabolic switching. Okay, let's break this down. It really comes down to 3 things.
First, you've got the metabolic shift. When you fast, your body quickly burns through its easy fuel source, glucose, and is forced to switch to burning stored fat. This process creates molecules called ketones. Second, these ketones aren't just fuel, they're also powerful signals that basically tell your cells to toughen up and become more resilient. And finally, and this is just common sense, those fasting days give your liver a much-needed break from constantly processing food. It gets a chance to catch up on its work, repair, and reset.
All right, so let's pull back and look at the bigger picture here. What are the key things we should really take away from all this fascinating research? First off, let's be clear, calories still matter. A lot. Creating that energy deficit is absolutely essential for getting fat out of the liver. And this is a big but, our eating patterns can unlock these incredibly powerful extra benefits. It seems like intermittent fasting, by forcing that metabolic switch, actively helps the liver heal in ways that just eating less every day doesn't. And this points to a totally new way of thinking. Maybe when we eat is just as important as what and how much we eat.
And that leaves us with this one big, kind of mind-blowing question to think about. For so long, we've been obsessed with calories, carbs, fats, and proteins. But if just changing the timing of our meals can flip a switch that helps our organs heal themselves, what does that change about how we approach food and health? It kind of makes you think our bodies have this incredible, built-in ability to renew themselves, if we just give them the right opportunity.